Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Uprooted is the most recent release by Ms. Novik, who obviously is best known for her Temeraire series. For those of you who don't know, her Temeraire series, currently consisting of I believe 8 volumes, is basically the idea that the Napoleonic Wars were fought with dragons as a kind of air force cavalry thing. It is a really interesting concept, and I've talked about the Temeraire series on here before, and that I actually didn't enjoy them all that much. And not because I didn't like the characters or the story or the world, I actually really liked all 3 of those, but the pacing for me was unbearably slow, and reading those books became more like a chore, and I found that very, very frustrating, so I have said that I'm no longer continuing with her Temeraire series. Because I really did like Ms. Novik's characters and her world building, and I really did like her writing despite the really, really slow pacing, when I saw that Uprooted was an arc on NetGalley, I immediately went and requested it. This is in no way related to the Temeraire series, and it looked like a really interesting concept. From the blurb, you can gather that this is a kind of fantasy fairy tale-esque story taking place obviously in a fictional land where there is a wizard known as the Dragon who will come into this one particular town and choose the most beautiful girl to be his servant, apprentice. They don't really know what he takes them for, but all they know is all the girls who are chosen by the dragon disappear and live with him in his tower for who knows how long, and then when they come back, they come out full of riches and beautiful clothing, and they are no longer the same. So clearly something's going on, but nobody in the village really knows exactly what it is. We pick up our story, and the next choosing, as it is called, is approaching, and our protagonist Agnieszka, I really hope I said that name right. I'm gonna spell it here so you can see what I'm working with, and this is how I'm assuming it's supposed to be pronounced. Agnieszka is very certain that the dragon will take her best friend, Kasia. Again, I'm gonna spell this out, and we're gonna hope that I'm saying all these names right. Kasia is arguably the most beautiful girl in the village, and she's very accomplished, and she's very good at everything she does, so Agnieszka's like, yeah, the dragon's gonna take her, and I'm gonna lose my best friend, and it's really gonna suck, but hey, there you go. Well, who do you think the dragon chooses? He picks Agnieszka, and everybody's shocked, and nobody is ready for this, but she goes to live with the dragon. And from there, the story really gets going. We see Agnieszka living with the dragon and kind of learning what it means to basically be his servant or apprentice, companion, whatever she is. And obviously other things ensue because dark things are happening in this forest that surrounds the little valley. It's known as the Wood, and dark things happen in the wood. Something's going on in there, and all they know is that the dragon protects them from the wood. This is where I say there's definitely an element of the fairy tale in here. You kind of have this dark whimsy to the story where things that should be whimsical and magical and wonderful are dark and twisted, and you're going, okay, what is going on here? That's the beautiful part of this, is that we watch Agnieszka really learn what's going on, not only in the wood, but kind of in her whole kingdom as well. Because obviously her life has been very sheltered, living just in this little village and living her life, and all of a sudden she's like, I'm meeting the court wizard and the prince, and what the hell is going on? There's a lot going on in there. But the best part, I think, is the relationship between Agnieszka and the dragon. In my written review that I did on Goodreads, I said that the relationship between the dragon and Agnieszka was really reminiscent of Sophie and Howl in Diana Wynne Jones's Howl's Moving Castle. And I actually think this is a good book to use when desperately trying to describe Uprooted to people, because it has that same kind of dark whimsy, a delightful fairy tale element, just pleasant people. The characters are just pleasant. As much as the dragon is very cynical and sarcastic and has a short temper, he's kind of just a more cynical Howl in a way. He's just genuinely still pleasant to read about, and pleasant things happen to these characters. That may sound really rare, because it kind of is, so it's nice to actually see that despite the darkness and everything that happens. So okay, there's no Calcifer the Fire Demon or anything else like that, but Uprooted has the same vibe that Howl's Moving Castle does. I got the same feeling when reading Uprooted that I did from reading the 3 Howl's Moving Castle novels. And yes, there are 3. Who knew, right? I only found that out this year. Uprooted took me on a journey that I didn't want to stop reading, even though it is admittedly still a slightly slower novel than everything else, but it is also rather large. This hardcover clocks in at about 435 pages, and Ms. Novik makes use of every single page. page. So something is either happening with the characters, their development, with telling you a little about the world, or actually in the plot for all 435 pages of this. It's not moving at breakneck speed, but for me it's not as unbearably slow as the Temeraire novels, which seriously, I found those so slow, it was frustrating. In my written review on Goodreads, I said that this is a rare gem and very likely to eventually be called a classic. That's something I don't say often, and I only say it just because of the impression this book left on me. I didn't want to pick up another book for literally several days after reading this book, and I read it and I went, it's sort of like reading those fairy tales in my childhood, but this is an adult fairy tale. That's kind of the best way to describe this. It's a fairy tale for adults, and it's so beautifully crafted that I don't think anybody else could have written this story or written it the way that Naomi Novik did. This book is phenomenal. It's definitely going to be up there in terms of my favorite books I've read this year, top like 15 of 2015. It's going to be up there. I don't know what place it'll be because obviously we're not even halfway through the year yet, but it's going to be on there. That is it for me today, you guys, and so until next time, cheers.